Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let me ask you something raw and uncomfortable. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and realized you don't even recognize the man staring back at you? Maybe you shaved your beard because she hinted she didn't like it. Maybe you stopped hanging out with your friends because she rolled her eyes when you left the house. Maybe you silenced your opinions because you were terrified of starting another fight. And slowly, piece by piece, you gave yourself away until the reflection looking back at you wasn't a man, it was a shell. That unease you feel deep in your chest, that's your soul screaming at you to wake up. Because let me tell you this truth men aren't supposed to hear. Women don't truly love the man who bends and breaks himself to please them. They may enjoy the control, they may use the comfort, but in the secret corners of their heart, they don't respect the man who abandons himself. The man they crave, the man they dream of, is the one who refuses to be reshaped like clay just to win their approval. You think you're buying love by sacrificing yourself, but what you're really doing is selling your masculinity for scraps of attention. And the cruelest twist? The more you give up, the more she pulls away. Not because she's evil, but because deep down, she can't bond with a man who has no spine. Your need to be loved turns into her reason to leave. This is why relationships crumble without warning, because you thought compromise meant losing yourself. Brother, you need to understand that every time you dim your light to make her comfortable, you train her to see you as smaller. And she will never admire smallness. That unease you feel when you sit in silence, knowing you've betrayed yourself, that is the beginning of wisdom. Stop changing for them. Start reclaiming yourself. Because the truth is, the only version of you that was ever worth loving is the one who stood tall, who had boundaries, who carried himself like he mattered. You are not supposed to shrink for love. You are supposed to grow so strong that love has no choice but to rise and meet you. Think about this for a second. When you first met her, what drew her in? It wasn't that you were obedient. It wasn't that you were soft. And it damn sure wasn't that you bent over backwards to be agreeable. No. What caught her attention was your edge, your drive, your unshakable sense of self. You walked into her life carrying your own fire, and she wanted to stand close to the warmth of that flame. But slowly, as the relationship deepened, you started dimming it. Not because she asked directly, but because you thought love meant sacrifice without limits. You thought, if I give more of myself, if I bend just a little further, if I mold myself to be exactly what she wants, she'll stay forever. But here's the brutal truth no one tells men. Every time you erase a part of yourself to fit her preferences, she feels it, and not in the way you imagine. She doesn't feel more loved, she feels less safe. A woman cannot relax with a man who doesn't know who he is. She can't trust you if you're too easily reshaped. Because if you change for her today, what's stopping you from changing for someone else tomorrow? She begins to sense that your identity is fragile, that your word isn't anchored to anything real. And when that anchor is missing, attraction dies. Respect dies. The bond itself rots. Listen closely. Women test men not because they're cruel, but because they crave proof that you are unshakable. She needs to know that when storms hit, you won't collapse. That when she doubts herself, you won't doubt yourself. That when life puts pressure on your shoulders, you carry it instead of folding. And every time you give up a piece of yourself for her approval, you're failing that test. Not in some big dramatic way, but in subtle, soul-crushing ways that build over time until she doesn't even see you as the man she once admired. That's why men wake up blindsided by breakups. They didn't lose her overnight. They lost themselves slowly, and she just followed the path their weakness created. Brother, hear me when I say this. Stop performing. Stop shape-shifting. The man she truly wants isn't the one who gives up his hobbies, his friendships, his fire. It's the man who says, "This is who I am. You're welcome to walk beside me, but I will not erase myself to make you stay." That's the strength that holds relationships together. That's the man she will respect forever. Let me strip this down to the bone for you. Every time you change for her, you're teaching her that you don't value yourself. And if you don't value yourself, why should she? A woman mirrors what you believe about you. If you show her that you'll betray your own values just to avoid tension, she learns that your word means nothing. If you abandon your dreams to keep the peace, she sees a man who cannot protect even his own vision. And if you silence your voice to avoid conflict, she realizes you're not a leader, you're a follower. That may sound harsh, but it's the raw truth you've been dodging. Women are not drawn to men who follow. They may use him, they may tolerate him, but they will not burn with desire for him. And that difference is everything. Here's the paradox that confuses most men. The more you try to make her happy by erasing yourself, the more she resents you. But the more you stand firm, even if it frustrates her in the moment, the more she respects you. Respect matters more than comfort. Desire is born from respect, not obedience. A woman doesn't fantasize about the man who kneels at her every command. She fantasizes about the man who stands so firmly in who he is that she feels both challenged and protected in his presence. Now ask yourself, how many times have you swallowed your truth just to keep her smiling? How many times have you told yourself, it's not worth the fight, when deep down you knew you were abandoning a part of you that mattered? Each of those small betrayals stack up like bricks on your back, and one day you wake up crushed, resentful, wondering why you feel so empty while she feels so distant. That's not love. That's slow-motion self-destruction. Brother, your relationship is not meant to be a place where you lose yourself. It's meant to be a place where both of you sharpen each other, grow stronger, and rise higher together. And that only happens when you refuse to compromise your core. Stop being terrified of her disapproval. Stop making her emotions your compass. A real man holds his own direction. And if she's the right one, she'll align with it. If she's not, she'll leave. And you'll still have yourself intact. That is power. That is freedom. And that is the only way love truly lasts. You know what's killing men silently today? It's not heartbreak. It's not betrayal. It's the quiet, invisible death of self-respect. Every time you reshape yourself to keep her satisfied, a piece of you dies. And you think no one notices, but she does. Women have a radar for weakness sharper than you can imagine. She feels it in your posture, in your hesitation, in the way you avoid hard conversations. She sees it in the way you wait for her approval before you act. And while she may never say it out loud, deep down, she loses a little more trust in you every time. Not because she wants to, but because she can't follow a man who doesn't lead himself. Think of it like this. You're the captain of a ship. She's on board because she believes you know where you're sailing. But imagine a captain who changes course every time a passenger complains. At first, the passengers might be pleased. They got their way. But over time, doubt spreads. The crew whispers, "Does he even know where we're going?" And soon, no one respects the captain. That's what happens in relationships when you abandon your course to avoid upsetting her. You may think you're giving her what she wants, but you're stripping her of the very thing she craves, your certainty. A woman doesn't need you to be flawless. She doesn't need you to agree with her on everything. She doesn't even need you to always make her happy. What she needs is to know that the man beside her cannot be broken by her moods, her doubts, or her storms. That when she lashes out, you don't collapse, you stand tall. That when she challenges you, you don't shrink. You look her in the eye and speak your truth calmly, firmly, without apology. That is what makes her feel safe. That is what makes her respect you. So stop being afraid of conflict. Stop thinking her approval is oxygen. It's not. You could bend yourself into the perfect image she claims she wants, and she would still walk away, because what she truly wants is a man she cannot bend. Brother, let this sink into your bones. Love without respect is nothing. If she doesn't respect you, she cannot love you. And if you don't respect yourself, neither of you stands a chance. Let's get brutally honest. Most men don't lose women because they weren't good enough. They lose them because they abandon themselves. Think about the man you were before her. You had routines, you had passions, you had dreams you spoke about with fire in your eyes. You had a swagger, not because you were arrogant, but because you owned your path. Then she came into your world, and slowly you started rewriting your story around her. You rearranged your schedule to match hers. You skipped the gym because she wanted you home. You shelved your ambitions because you thought we mattered more than me. And one day, you realized your life revolved around her, while your soul was starving. You didn't just lose her, you lost the man she fell in love with. Brother, hear me. You can't keep a woman by sacrificing your essence. You can't build love on the grave of your identity. She may smile when you give everything up for her, but she won't desire you. Because desire doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in tension. It grows when she looks at you and sees a man who is chasing something bigger than her mood. It grows when she realizes she can't distract you from your mission, only walk beside it. And if you've lost that, if you've turned your mission into her, you've already killed the attraction with your own hands. Here's the twist. Women will never tell you this directly. Why? Because it's not their job to. They'll say they want more time, more compromise, more softness. But if you give it endlessly, they'll quietly lose interest. Not because they're manipulative, but because they cannot thrive with a man who lives only to please them. They test you for strength, and when you fail those tests, they don't even know why they feel less attracted. They just do. And you're left confused, broken, telling yourself, I gave her everything, and it still wasn't enough. But the truth is, you gave her everything except the one thing she needed most, your unshakable self. This is where you have to rise. Stop making her the center of your identity. Stop asking her to validate your worth. Get back to the man who had purpose before she arrived. Because that's the man she chose. That's the man she respected. And that's the only man who can keep her respect. Lose yourself. Lose her. Keep yourself, and you'll either keep her or attract someone who truly deserves you. Let me tell you something that will sting, but it needs to hit you deep. The man who constantly changes for her approval isn't just weak in her eyes. He becomes invisible. She might stay out of convenience, out of fear of being alone, or because it's comfortable. But that fire, that spark she once felt, it dies the moment she realizes you've placed her on a throne and put yourself beneath her. And here's the truth you were never supposed to know. Women cannot love a man they look down on. They might tolerate him. They might even use him. But love, real, gut-deep, loyal love, it doesn't live there. This is why you see men completely blindsided when she leaves. He thinks, but I gave her everything. I bent over backwards. I sacrificed my happiness to keep her smiling. And she leaves anyway, sometimes without even explaining. Why? Because deep down, she was screaming for you to stop being her puppet and start being her man. She doesn't want to lead you. She doesn't want to carry the burden of being your compass. She wants to feel your direction, your presence, your weight as a man. And when you strip that away to avoid disappointing her, you don't become the dream partner. You become another responsibility. Here's the bitter irony. Women are drawn to men they cannot fully control. It frustrates them. It challenges them. But it also ignites them. She doesn't want you to say yes to everything. She wants to know your no means something. She wants to feel that your boundaries are unshakable, that your vision cannot be bought, that your soul cannot be traded for comfort. That resistance, that strength, that is what keeps her respect alive. Without it, she withers, and so does her attraction to you. So stop trying to earn her love by erasing yourself. You were never meant to be her project. You were never meant to be molded into her idea of perfection. You were meant to stand as a man in full, imperfect, flawed, but unmovable in your truth. That's the paradox. The more you give her everything, the less she values you. But the more you hold yourself sacred, the more she feels drawn to you. Not because you're hard, but because you're real. And real men don't need to change to be worthy of love. They need to remain who they are. There's a question every man needs to ask himself. Who am I when no one is watching? Because that's the man your woman truly sees, whether you hide him or not. If you're secretly lost, insecure, desperate for her approval, she feels it in ways you can't mask. You can dress it up with flowers, gifts, sweet words. But if underneath you've abandoned your backbone, she'll know. And once she knows, the clock starts ticking on the relationship. Not because she's cruel, but because she can't keep following a man who doesn't even follow himself. Here's a truth most men never learn until it's too late. Women are not attracted to men who orbit around them. They're attracted to men who move forward with a mission and invite them along for the ride. Your purpose, your path, your growth, that is the gravitational pull. Without it, you're not a man with direction. You're a satellite spinning endlessly around her moods, and that orbit suffocates her. It makes her restless. It makes her crave something she can't even explain, a man she cannot bend, a man who won't lose himself even for her love. Brother, you have to reclaim that version of you. The man who once had fire in his eyes, who wasn't afraid to chase his vision, who wasn't shaken every time someone doubted him. You need to resurrect him, because that's the man she respected before she even loved you. Respect first, then love. Always. And if you've lost that respect by constantly reshaping yourself, the good news is, it's not too late. You can rebuild it. But not by begging, not by pleading, not by proving. You rebuild it by standing up tomorrow and saying, no more. No more abandoning my purpose. No more silencing my truth. No more making her approval the measure of my worth. You want to know the secret to lasting love. It's not endless compromise. It's alignment. Two strong individuals walking side by side, not one kneeling behind the other. If she's the right one, she will rise to meet your strength. If she's not, she'll fall away. And that's a blessing, not a curse. Because the woman who deserves you will never want you to shrink. She'll want you to grow taller, stronger, more yourself. And that only happens when you stop changing for them and start living for you. Brother, let me leave you with the truth most men never hear until it's too late. If you keep changing for her, you won't just lose her, you'll lose yourself. And losing yourself is the deepest betrayal a man can ever commit. Because when you're gone, when your fire is out, when your spine is bent, when your purpose is buried, you're no longer the man she met, the man she loved, or the man you were born to be. You become a ghost walking in your own life. And ghosts don't attract love. They repel it. So ask yourself right now, are you living as the man you are, or the man you think she wants you to be? Every choice you make answers that question. Every time you silence your opinion, every time you abandon your goals, every time you pretend to be something you're not, you're teaching her you don't value yourself. And if you don't value yourself, she never truly can. Respect is not something she gives. It's something you demand by the way you live. That's why the strongest men are not the richest, not the most handsome, not the most charming. They're the ones who refuse to betray themselves for approval. Here's the reality. The right woman does not want you to change for her. She wants you to grow with her. She wants you to stay grounded in your truth while you both rise higher. She doesn't want a puppet. She wants a partner. She doesn't want a boy. She wants a man. And a man is someone who can look her in the eyes and say, "This is who I am. I will love you fiercely, but I will not erase myself for you." That's the line. That's the strength. That's the only version of you worth loving. So stop changing for them. Stop begging for approval. Stand tall in who you are, flaws and all, because the man who keeps his identity intact will never fear losing a woman. He knows that even if she leaves, he still has himself. And that's the kind of man no woman ever truly walks away from. Now I'll ask you this, be honest. Have you ever changed yourself so much for someone that you didn't even recognize who you were anymore? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear your truth. And if this message hit you hard, make sure you like this video, subscribe for more, and share it with a friend who desperately needs to hear it.